Alright, what's going on YouTube? I'm not sure if this is something that you see as a separate video or not. Basically, my internet dropped in the middle of the show match, so we had to sort of reconnect and continue watching where we left off. I do apologize for that, but here we go again. So back we are, Capoch versus Hera. We're watching where we left off. Capoch and Hera are playing on Danube River, and both of them are playing as the Mongols. So far, Capoch has a town center close to his dock, so that makes it very, very safe, and he's got the fishing ship advantage with 8 versus 7. And on the other side, we do have the Ovu quite exposed for Capoch. Hera was trying to attack it, but that wasn't successful, and it looks like Hera is going to lose the scout, or the con, excuse me, in the battle in the middle. I will also need to reset myself mentally over here, and probably so does Capoch, because he does lose the con as well to the Spearman Horde there as well. We do have Capoch working towards Feudal Age. The moment he secured this gold mine, he started moving out towards it, and he's going to have enough gold to get up to Feudal Age. Now you see he's forced to retreat here as he's pushed back by the Spearman, but there's a defensive outpost coming in here for Mr. Capoch. So if this goes up, his gold is safe, but there's a big if in there. There's a very, very big if in there. It looks like Capoch's forces will be sufficient to force him back for the time being. Tower is actually going to get a couple of kills here with those arrows. So in the end, Capoch has to be satisfied with his position. Right now, he is currently sitting on 36 eco on the way to Feudal Age, whereas on the other side, Hera is also on the way to Feudal Age as he's sitting on 34 eco, so a tiny bit behind compared to Capoch. So, as things stand, it looks like the game is going to be a little peaceful. Since we are behind on the live feed, thanks to the fact that my internet dropped, so we had to reconnect, I'm tempted to go a little fast forward on the parts where we have no fighting going on, so we can sort of grind down that deficit in time. Hera is looping around with all those spearmen. Capoch will spot that though, and he now has the deer stones up, so he has the yam speed on his spearmen, which means that he can react to Hera's spears a lot faster. Those towers will help him even pursue some of those spears from Hera. Hera is at 15 spearmen, Capoch is at 11, but those are now hardened spears, so Hera will have to retreat. Soon, with Feudal Age, we'll have some combat ships coming in. Indeed, we already have a light junk for Mr. Capoch. And on the other side, I would expect combat ships as well for Hera to come in. Capoch already in Feudal Age, Hera as well, so Hera is probably popping out the Veteran Spearman upgrade as well. And indeed, here it goes. So numbers are now better for Hera. Capoch will be forced to retreat for the time being. Khan already out for Capoch, and for Hera, he just now got his new Khan. Light junks coming in for both parties, Hera with the second one, and so is Capoch. So we'll have a two-front warfare over here. We'll have some land fighting with the spears, and we'll also have some ship warfare over here. Looks like the Khan is actually going to get a couple of shots on that light chunk, so Hera has a tiny bit of HP advantage. But at this point, it seems like Hera just wants to play sort of defensive, because one thing that Hera has is a pretty decent food bank. Look at this. 850 food already. Capoch has a pretty decent food bank as well, but I can imagine either of these players just going for a fast castle or semi-fast castle-ish approach here, because they're getting close to that castle age. Might as well just play defensive and try to get to castle, because the moment you get to castle, you will have access to men-at-arms, so you can start smashing all those spearmen in the face. Second dock coming in here for Capoch. This would be a perfect dock to set up some nice demo hits in castle age, because a dock here would mean that you could pop out a demo ship anytime on the opponent's face, and you could just sink their entire army. Hera indeed is working towards that castle age, and so is Capoch. We should have sort of identical castle age timings for both players. It seems like we do have some archers added though by Capoch. Only a handful of them, and there is a defensive tower here for Hera, even coming in with arrow slits, so not really a big danger right now for Hera if you ask me. In fact, this is a very, very nice defensive position to hold. You got a tower with the yam speed, you got some lice junks, you got the deer stone set up over here. I just don't see how Capoch could push this. There's a tower indeed garrisoned by the villagers, and the towers do a lot of damage against the ships, so you can force them back quite easily. In fact, one of those light junks will just sink from the tower fire. Hera going up with the step redoubt. He has some idle villagers in that tower, which will now be replaced by spearmen, so he still gets the firepower, but he doesn't have idols in there. As things stand, we do have 8 fishing ships on this side for Hera, and we have 10 for Capoch, so slight eco advantage for Capoch here, but he's also investing into archers. Nice move from Capoch though to try and push this side of the fishing eco. This is sort of undefended, and those spearmen will get a couple of hits in here. One fishing ship goes down, the second one will survive. Hera sending the light junk to dispatch all those spearmen though. There is one spearman going down. Many of those spears are rather weak, so you could get some nice hits on top of them. Indeed, there's a second one going down. The third one will not fall. Hera in Castle Age, and for Capoch, he is on the way to Castle Age as well. Both of them going with the step redoubt. It's a landmark that boosts your economy quite heavily. The 50% extra resources dropped off is massive, as it's usually used on gold mines to boost your gold income quite a bit. Hera going for double barracks over here on the front line. It's not close to Novu, so there is going to be no double training here. It's only going to be single training, but men-at-arms will hit the field. Now, if Capoch wants to play mind games with the archer range he already has, he should either play Mangadai or Crossbowman here, because he should know Hera is coming in with men-at-arms. Hera was only on barracks, so men-at-arms feels like the most natural unit for Hera. So you probably want to play crossbows, or you want to play Mangadai here, and it looks like it's going to be a mixture of crossbows and men-at-arms here for Capoch as well. For now, he's holding this crossing. There is no war junk coming in from him, and for Hera, he actually popped out a war junk. So he's gonna have something that controls this choke point, or something that could push the fishing eco of Capoch. Capoch, by the way, has a massive fishing eco here, 11 fishing ships as opposed to Hera's 7. Hera looking around with that con, trying to find the opponent's army right now. Meanwhile, on the other side, we do have just single training men-at-arms on these two barracks, and there is some double training going on for Hera whenever he can afford it. There is the improved siege engineering upgrade though for Hera, so he will be able to start making springolds or probably even mangonels on the battlefield now. Remember that the springolds have been nerfed in the recent patch, so they're not as powerful as they used to be. So mangonels might actually be more justified now, simply because you could be facing quite a lot of crossbowmen, and the mangonels would perform quite nicely against them. Meanwhile, for Hera, he's looking around Capoch's base, see what he's up to. I think he spotted the crossbows coming forward. So he should have the vision on that. And looks like Hera's actually getting a couple of nice kills with the con here. That's such a good move from him. The con actually gets an attack increase as it goes up to the next stage. So while in Dark Age, it's not a lot of firepower against villagers, in Feudal Age and Castle Age, it starts to become significant, and you see Hera is using that one single con to perfection. That is at least 3, potentially 4 villagers killed here by that con. Just such a good micro by Hera. He pulls it back when it's weak, although it's gonna be a little close. Men-at-arms also coming in to take down the con, but looks like Hera will get away, and he's going to be able to use that again. A Mangonel is out now, as we do have quite a lot of fighting going on over here. Mangonel gets a shot on top of those archers. Only a handful of crossbows in here. Looking at the men-at-arms numbers, that's about 10 for Hera, only 5 for Capoch. Also nice Mangonel shot over here. Capoch trying to send in the con to get some hits on the Mangonel, but that's gonna be a little wasteful because the con is going to be killed by all those spearmen. Suddenly, Hera is the controller of the land here, going for a Springald as well, because he knows exactly that Springolds will come from his opponent. A War Junk will be added here to control this crossing, whereas on the other side, you do have a pretty significant navy coming in from our blue player, Capoch. 2 War Junks, also a couple of Light Junks. There's a Demo Junk over here for Hera that did not trigger, and now his War Junks are also getting slaughtered, so looks like Hera was a little slow to react over here. Garrisons the tower though, and that's going to give him a lot of firepower against those Light Junks, and will discourage Capoch from pushing up. Hera pulling the Deerstones, so he's going to have control over this choke point, and he's making a Trebuchet. Now that's not something that you see every day. Mongol is making a Treb. Hera has 1 out of each siege weapon. Trap here could work because you want to destroy this dock here. It's very risky to cross this choke point here, as long as Capoch is able to make demos so close. So you probably want that Trebuchet to start taking down that dock out there. Hera will have to keep some villagers inside this tower or something that destroys those ships, because otherwise his fishing eco will just go down quite rapidly. Hera still has the con over here, and he's waiting for a chance to strike again. Currently 59 villagers for Capoch. 57 for Hera, so very, very even economies and also armies. 57 army for Hera. Capoch is at 59. Trebuchet setting up, and it looks like Hera just wants to use the Trebuchet against those war junks, but that's not going to work out that well. Back in the days, when Springboards were powerful, Springboards were useful against these ships. Now they have a pretty low base attack, so that's not gonna work that well either. But as expected, Hera will just focus down the dock here. I don't necessarily think that Capoch can keep this alive. He can repair it, but it's just a matter of time until it gets trapped down. There's a Siege Workshop for Capoch. He will probably try to make some Springboards. Deerstones being pulled as well. And it looks like we're preparing for a big battle here in the river crossing. One good demo could decide the outcome of the game here. Speaking of good demos, it looks like we don't have any for Hera up until now. He's starting to add some demo ships as we speak. Dock will go down slowly but surely here. From Capoch, it's already burning. Meanwhile, though, your Deerstones is a little exposed if you're Hera. Those war junks have been getting some shots on it. Not the end of the world, but definitely something to pay attention for Hera. Dock does go down here, slowly but surely. So now, Hera could focus this dock, and that could be a plan for Hera. You take down the docks, and then you are guaranteed to have naval superiority, as Capoch runs into all of those war junks with his own. That's going to be one ship lost. I loved how Hera didn't trigger a demo on this. He knew exactly he could destroy that. Meanwhile, though, there is Capoch with the flanking maneuver. He's getting some barracks up on this stone outcropping, and this could be perfect or this could be disaster. If this remained hidden, he could have flooded Hera's flank here with men-at-arms using the Ovu. But it didn't remain hidden, and now you lose your Ovu, you are going to lose your barracks, and suddenly that's a lot of resources down the drain here. Town Center, a second Town Center coming up for Hera, so he starts to realize that this could be a long game, he needs some sort of eco advantage, and as Hera was focusing on the left side to clean up those barracks, there is the push coming in from Capoch from the right. Mangonel gets some nice hits on the crossbows, but will be taken down by the men-at-arms here. I think men-at-arms numbers are better for Capoch, and the crossbows are still alive. Springolds are helping a tiny bit, they still have 30 base attack, so they can snipe down those low HP crossbows, but this is a big win here for Capoch. It's an enormous win, in fact. He flanked Hera while Hera was looking at all these barracks, and now Capoch will be able to secure that Ovu for himself, will allow him to train army at a very rapid pace here in the middle. Yes, the stream is behind. It is because the stream and my internet crashed for like 15 minutes, and I just didn't want to speed through the entire thing, because then you miss everything, right? So we're aware that the stream is a little behind, so I appreciate your patience. Speaking of patience, Hera's gonna have to play this one patiently, fall back a tiny bit with the Deerstones, because otherwise he is going to be in trouble. I don't think he's going to lose it. He's got quite a lot of men-at-arms joining the party, but it's definitely a problematic scenario right now for Hera, because his opponent has the Ovu in the middle. This crossing is held by Capoch right now. Warjunk setting up to take some shots. No demos on either side. Hera's demos are here, defending against the men-at-arms. Hera also was pretty active with that con, still harassing his opponent. As in the middle, it very much seems like Capoch's forces will be forced back. Capoch bringing in some more Warjunks, trying to get that dock up for a demo ship. Meanwhile, Capoch is tempted to try and push this one, but the demos are a very, very big problem right now for him when it comes to crossing. The dock here in the middle does get denied by Hera. 68 eco for Capoch. Hera is at 72, so slight advantage right now for our red player Hera, but army numbers wise, Capoch is ahead by quite a bit. 37 army only for Hera, and Capoch is sitting at 59. Looks like the men-at-arms will set up close to that Deerstones. Once again, trying to push through the middle here. I don't think that Capoch can push through the middle right now, so he just needs to play this one patiently and try to secure some water control for himself now. He could also think about adding trebuchets and start taking down Hera's docks. Looks like Capoch is still playing one town center for the time being. Has quite a lot of pastures set up though, so not only does he have a lot of fishing eco going still, he does have some pastures as well. Hera microing the hell out of that con. Look at that. It's still taking down those two men-at-arms that are chasing him. It's slowly going to grind them down. On the other hand though, We have one sacred site being captured here by Capoch. He already has one shaman out here, and that shaman could also help picking up those relics. So once again, Capoch is securing map control, and that is a pretty massive advantage for him in the long run. Hera is coming in with the demos though, and if those demos connect on that patch of ships, it could be a disaster. You need to absorb all the damage with your war chunks though, and here they come. Demos for Hera getting in a bit of a traffic jam, but here goes one, detonates, and a second one could detonate as well. They have a tough time reaching Capoch's navy, but at least two of them detonate, and there's a third one here. If that can get close, this could be a disaster for Capoch. Little chaotic of a fight over here, and it looks like that demo didn't trigger. It's still out here at the back. Hera's now going to pull that up, and now it's going to trigger, sinking everything from Capoch. What a chaotic water fight out there. At the end of the day, it looks like we got some navy coming in here for Capoch to reinforce, so that's not going to be enough for Hera to push through. And while we were talking about that one, Capoch pushes through the middle, and now Hera's got no demos to hold that. Buildings being set on fire will give gold and food as well to Capoch, so all these exposed towers are just an absolute fiesta for him. Look at that. Setting it on fire, 50 gold and 50 food will be given to him. All these exposed small buildings like the Gur, the towers, will just be destroyed by the men-at-arms, and that's going to be a lot of extra resources for Capoch. Town center even could go down here. Hera's in trouble because he's running for his life with the villagers. He still has a pretty decent navy, and he could try just preventing those men-at-arms from crossing here with a couple of demos or war junks, but this army is not something that Hera can deal with right now. 70 army versus 48. Hera's got a sizable force somewhere, but I can't see it anywhere. Really. There's one Khan over here. It seems like Hera's entire army is in the form of ships. There's just absolutely no land units in here. And now he's in trouble because he's getting slaughtered from all directions. The Gur's being taken down, all the villagers getting killed. And you see, as I said, every single building that's destroyed here is a bunch of extra resources for Capoch. So the snowball will just be bigger and bigger. 78 villagers for Capoch. Hera is at 71 still, so pretty decent numbers for him in terms of villagers. The problem is that there is just zero map control right now. Looks like the men-at-arms are swooping in from the north, and now we get some men-at-arms counterattacking here for Hera. That could spice things up, because now Hera is burning down all these towers, and that's gonna give resources to Hera. I still believe that Capoch might have an easier time stopping this army of men-at-arms. It's only 14, compared to Hera stopping all of these from Capoch, especially because these are supported by crossbowmen, so there is a way for Capoch to swing the battle in his favor, and that's what we are seeing over here. Same thing for Capoch, he could just get a couple of crossbows out to defend this side. Hera's got a sizable navy as well, and if Hera can stall the game out, there is still a hope for him. I just feel like those crossbowmen are just doing so much here in this fight. That's exactly what's swinging the battle in the favor of Capoch, and allowing him to take a lot more cost-efficient engagements. 58 army for Hera, Capoch is at 73. Of course, the OVU in the middle allows Capoch to go for a double training as well, and now we see Capoch pushing up on the river as well. This force will be cleaned up from Capoch. Looks like this army is slowly being ground down, but Hera's forces are just running out inside his base. And on the other side, men-at-arms will just trade evenly, as we do have no crossbows coming in to help here for Capoch. Capoch's resources are still looking decent, whereas Hera is running out of food. And that's a growing and growing concern. Couple more villagers go down here for Hera. Big naval fight coming in. There is no demos here from Capoch. I see one demo from Hera, and he's got 3 more out here. Looks like Capoch will be able to clean this one up, though. Behind this one, you still have the sacred site in the middle for Capoch, and what's bigger, I believe, is that Hera's got limited access to gold. Where is he even getting gold from? He doesn't have this one. Hera is still getting gold from here. He's got a tiny bit of gold left in this gold mine, but Capoch could push that angle any moment. This is looking pretty grim for Mr. Hera, I'm not gonna lie. 64 villagers, 44 army, and on the other side, Capoch is 79 villagers, 70 army. Looking at Hera's navy, that's pretty sizable, and I feel like Hera needs that navy. Because if Hera is able to slow this game down and sort of just secure his side of the river, he could actually stall this out. But that's the best case scenario for Hera right now. 80 villagers for Capoch, Hera's at 66, so Capoch has an eco advantage. Capoch has a map control advantage, so he can pick up relics, he can secure the sacred sites, and it's not like Capoch's navy is bad by any means. In fact, it's a fairly big navy as well. Quite tight corners though, so any demo could change the outcome of this battle. It's just such a difficult scenario to micro all those war junks in there in such a narrow river. Still no demo from either player yet. We got some even trades on the left side over here, no crossbows out here for Capoch, so Hera should be able to clean this one up. But now Capoch is pushing up the river, and that's the only gold mine that Hera has access to. Whereas for Capoch, he's got all the gold that he needs, so he's taking the gold in the middle. In fact, the step redoubt isn't even set up out there, so it's not perfect. But now Hera could have trouble accessing gold. In fact, he's going to lose that Gur faster than he would lose the villagers. And once again, that Gur being set on fire is a problem for Hera, because Capoch is getting some resources from it. Slowly but surely, I feel like Hera is being ground down to oblivion, because at this point, men-at-arms are once again hitting Hera's economy. And the problem here, as I said for him, is that the moment he starts losing those buildings, the moment he starts losing that eco, is just going to collapse. It is a big snowball, because every single small building that Capoch destroys is going to be extra resources he can turn into army, and that army can just keep pushing Hera, killing his villagers, and then Hera just won't have the resources to rebuild his army. And at this point, it is exactly what's going to happen. I'm not sure if we have piracy for either player. That's an interesting question. For both players, piracy would have been a good upgrade. Imagine this, they're trading evenly with ships. Might as well go for the piracy upgrade and get wood and gold every time you sink an enemy ship out here. Looks like we got some demos coming in for Hera. He's going to trigger them on the men-at-arms, but that was 2 men-at-arms taken down. That's basically it. Hera also doesn't have piracy, but he's losing all his villagers, and with that, Hera taps out. 3-0 for Capoch. Bit of a shocker, I'm not gonna lie. He's been playing exceptionally well. Where did this battle go wrong? I think the fact that Capoch had more fishing eco throughout the game was probably the deciding factor. Because if you think about it, Capoch had like 11 fishing ships versus 7, and that piles up over time. So if you look at the overall economy, that was 3,000 more food for Capoch, also 5k more gold, but that was basically because Hera wasn't able to access gold for the second half of the game very easily. Capoch had more stone as well, so he was able to get the Ovu out in the middle, whereas I think Hera didn't have an Ovu once his initial one got depleted. And KD, rather close, I would say. But the big deal, as I said, is the economy being way better for Capoch. He was able to secure the sacred site, he was able to get some relics as well, and he just slowly ground down Hera. Alright, so let's try to reset ourselves mentally over here, because, as I said, we got a pretty chaotic second game over here. Once again, I do apologize. My internet just dropped completely, so we are a little behind. This means that we are jumping straight into the next game over here. We're not that much behind, we're like 1 or so minutes. But on we go. Indeed, the other deciding factor was that Capoch had some crossbows that swung the men-at-arms battles in his favor, and those were actually pretty useful as well in that situation. So, we're going to Ancient Spires, and the civilizations are going to be English versus the Abbasids. So on the left side of the map, as the bets will be played in a matter of moments, on the left side of the map we do have Capoch with the English in blue, and on the right side we will have Hera picking the Abbasids. Looks like most people have voted with their channel points on Hera, so a lot of people will be lucky with that. Now we got the Hera with the Abbasids and Capoch with the English. So, looking at the map over here, Capoch has a pretty underwhelming map, I must say. You got 2 pawns that are rather far away from his town center, both of those are rather small. Hera's got one huge pawn that's awkwardly shaped close to his base, and one that's kind of small a little further out. And now you can get your bets in if you think Capoch or Hera will win game number 4. It's match point for Capoch. Hera is down 3 games, but I've seen Hera come back from sets before, so I still have my hope in Hera's comeback, so we see some more games. As I said, Hera's playing Abbasids, so he's going to have the discount on the dock here, whereas on the other side, with the English, you don't have any discount on your dock, but of course, that doesn't prevent Capoch from going for the dock over here. He's got a deep fish to work with, which is pretty valuable, especially when it's so close to your dock. This is the perfect fishing scenario, because a deep fish, your fishing ships gather faster from deep fish compared to what they do on shorefish. So you always want to target deep fish, especially when it's this close to your dock. This is the dream scenario for Capoch. Whereas on the other side for Hera, he's got a deep fish to work with, and that's still probably going to be more efficient than this shorefish here. But it's a bigger distance for him to cover. What I like about Hera's position here, though, is that he's got the villager left close to the dock, which means that he can continue to do shore fishing with that villager as well, although that will might be exposed to early aggression from scouts, so he has to be careful. Looking at Hera, he's got 2 scouts working for him, something that he does quite often, adds a second scout with that town center. This allows him to pick up quite a lot of sheep. You see he's got at least 5, 6 following this scout over here. It's actually 8. And we got 3 more on this side. Whereas for Capoch, he's got about 6 to work with. That's basically it. So, 2 fishing ships right now for Mr. Hera, 3 already for Capoch. Capoch had his dock up a little faster, but that's not really a big deal for Hera. What's a bigger deal, though, is that we have Capoch coming in here to harass Hera's villager. Hera actually yoing the sheep off from the beginning, or from the back of that scout out here. So, Capoch did lose the sheep, but Hera could be in the danger of losing that villager. I think it's still pretty far from being killed here, and it looks like the villager will get back to the town, but it was a little risky for Hera. So, at the end of the day, he does get some extra food from that shore fishing, and he kills 1 sheep from Capoch's scout, but that was basically it. So, looking at Hera, he's probably going to be aging up with the economy wing in the next 1 or 2 minutes, whereas for Capoch, he's also sending out villagers for the gold out here. Capoch with 5 fishing ships, and on the other side we have only 3 for Hera. The 4th one is just now coming in. Looking at Hera's base, he is quite exposed with his gold mine. Look at this. Front gold, very much exposed here. This is going to be difficult for Hera to defend. Whereas for Capoch, it's also exposed, but it's a little closer to the town center. So Capoch has to be satisfied with the location of that gold mine. He has quite a lot of villagers out there on gold, as he is about to start going into feudal age. He'll probably use the gold miners. He had to pull quite a lot of vills on gold because he already had the food, just didn't have the gold out here, building that council chamber with 5 villagers out here. On the other side, it looks like Hera's going to use his 2 Dark Age scouts to harass that dock. I like that. Hera not only benefited from picking up all the sheep and bringing it back to the TC, so he has got quite a lot of sheep to work with, he's also going to be able to use those scouts to potentially burn that dock down. Capoch is still far from getting any military on the field, so there's a chance that Capoch will lose that dock, and that would be quite annoying for him. Meanwhile, for Hera, he's on the way to cast or feudal age with the economy wing, as you would expect. He's going to pop that fresh foodstuffs upgrade right at the beginning, and from that point on, he's probably going to play horseman, I would think, because you can expect the English player to go for longbows, so what you're trying to play is horsemen most likely. And then when the English player starts adding spearmen, you start adding your own archers as well. Looking at those scouts, they're still far from destroying that dock, so there's a chance for Capoch to save it. If he pulls his own scout, pulls 1 longbowman and potentially 2 villagers, he can potentially save that dock. He definitely should save that dock, by the way, because if it goes down, even if he can rebuild it, there is going to be an outage in his food income, and that's a problem for him. Meanwhile, for Hera, looks like his fishing eco is getting towered over here by Capoch. Hera sees it, but can he prevent anything here? That's the question, and the answer is probably no. Now, there's a defensive tower coming for Hera's dock here, but how is he going to take that outpost down? That's a bit of a mystery to me yet. Because his combat ships will be destroyed by the tower if the tower is garrisoned by multiple vills. Now, you only have one villager here for Capoch, but Capoch could pull his scout and garrison it inside as well, potentially pull some longbows, so ships could go down quite rapidly over here. There is the first Dao coming in for Hera. He won't be able to stop that tower, but he just wants to take it down at this point. Meanwhile, on the other side, first longbowman out for Capoch, followed by the second one. Hera will try to burn that dock down, or at least set it on fire, but there's already a repair villager coming in here. I don't think that Hera can burn this down. He's trying, but he's going to lose one scout over here, and the dock is still alive, so that is a massive win there for Mr. Capoch. And it looks like we do have a galley out here as well. A sneaky dog that I haven't even spotted up until now for Capoch comes in, and now Hera's fishing eco is in jeopardy. Oh, that's a disaster. Now, Hera's got a defensive tower over here, so it's not the end of the world, and he's got a Dao as well to fight this one. But it definitely doesn't help for him that his fishing eco is being pushed this aggressively. Meanwhile, for him, though, I don't see any production buildings up until now, so it looks like he's just going to go full water defense, fighting off that galley with his own Dao. Second Dao on the way for him. We got some longbows crossing the map, so Hera's gonna need a defensive tower. And speaking of Hera's defensive tower, that is going to be just in time. That was the last second that Hera could have gotten that tower up, because just a couple seconds later and he loses at least one villager out there, so Hera has to be happy with the fact that the tower went up when it did, and he even kills Capoch's scout in the process. Capoch will now try to be aggressive with those longbows, try to push this food line, so Hera's gonna need some sort of army out there, and the answer is gonna be a stable for horsemen here for him. Two galleys versus two Daos over here coming in, but you also got the tower up here for Capoch, so Hera's fishing eco isn't looking very good, and neither is his land eco, to be honest. In fact, if he doesn't get two horsemen out here pretty rapidly, his wood income is going to collapse, and things are just looking extremely good here for Capoch. Capoch is looking really sharp. I expected a much closer matchup so far, and I'm shocked by how good Capoch is playing. Looks like fresh foodstuffs is now coming in here for Hera. He's holding his fishing eco so far, though. And that's something that you shouldn't forget. He still has fishing income. It's not as good as Capoch's one, but he's also going to spend less food on villagers, so he might actually be fine over here, especially if he can start picking off those longbows. Longbows swoop in from the south, pick off one villager out here, and we do have a couple of horsemen now moving out. Fishing eco is still intact here on the left side for Hera, but now he's being pushed by 3 galleys, and things are just starting to snowball out of control pretty rapidly here. Hera's going to take one decisive fight against those longbows with the horsemen, but look at this. Capoch already swooping in with the longbowmen as well. Such a good use of his small army groups. He's using this army to deny this food line, and on the other side, he's swooping in as well. That could be another villager death for Hera. Looks like he saves everybody, and now the horsemen could jump on the longbows, but Hera's eco is just extremely inefficient right now, because he's getting pushed from every possible direction. On the left side, we got now 4 galleys out here, so Capoch is very aggressive here, pushing this one. Hera has to move towards the deep fish because he finally depleted that shorefish. And the problem for Hera right now is that he isn't able to access wood and gold safely. And that just starts to snowball the water in the favor of his opponent. Capoch here. Hera's horsemen are now piling up though, and he is getting a blacksmith up as well. He has gotten the defense upgrade, so that's going to help a tiny bit over here, but still his Daos are weaker than the galleys of the opponent, and his fish will soon fall if all those Daos go down. Hera's gonna have to do some crazy raiding over here to make this work. Now the good news for Hera is that Hera is getting close to Castle Age, so before his fishing eco goes down, he gets what he wants out of this one. And with that, he could get to Castle Age, get a couple of Lancers out, or potentially men-at-arms, and start pushing Capoch's gold mine, because that's probably the most exposed part of Capoch's eco, that gold mine. If he denies that, everything is possible. Hera will finally lose his fishing eco here, and he can't even rebuild it on this spawn because this is being denied by Capoch. As we do see our blue player mixing in some spearmen now. Hera paying this one patiently though, and he's going for a second stable. He's gonna try to age up to Castle Age, and now he's gonna have to leverage his mobility. Now, the wood line, for example, for Capoch is very much exposed here, and it looks like Hera's army will be spotted here by the longbowmen. Capoch will lose some of those longbows out here, so Capoch knows exactly Hera is planning a counterattack. Now, one thing that you could do, as I said, is hit this wood line. Alternatively, you could try pushing this dock, so there are options over here for the Abbasid player. Looks like Hera is going to try and force a fight here in the middle, though. There is quite a lot of spearmen in that battle, though, so I don't think that he can actually realistically push this one. Hera will now go up to Castle Age, going with the Culture Wing. He is about 1.5 minutes away. Capoch is not going up just yet, so there is still hope here for Hera. He's going to play with 2 more defensive towers on his gold mine. He knows exactly a push is coming, but Hera needs to start being a little proactive, I believe, and force a fight at the base of Capoch. Hera will have to abandon that gold mine. The towers didn't go up in time. He does have 1 defensive tower out there. Meanwhile, looking at the left side of the map, we do have the galleys denying all the fish. So I feel like at this point Hera has given up on the raiding, and he wants to force a fight here with Lancers. If he mixes in 2 or 3 Lancers, that could be perfectly fine for him. It's a little concerning because he doesn't have this gold mine working for him, and in general Hera's got no gold. So I guess he might need to settle with just the veteran horseman, if he can even afford it. He doesn't have gold right now. Looks like the horseman will intercept a couple of spearmen here in the middle though, as this spearman does brace for the charge, so one of the horsemen will be stunned. Down south, the pond is still under the control of Capoch, and it looks like Hera might be going for Capoch's pond. That's smart. Capoch himself is going up to Castle Age though with the King's Palace, so it will be Castle Age for both players as Capoch is moving in on the wood line once again. Hera trying to get those towers up here to protect his gold mine. More horsemen coming out, but Hera is unable to afford the veteran horseman upgrade, so he's gonna have to play with just standard horsemen. He's torching down Capoch's fishing eco though, and that's something that needs to be addressed here for Capoch, because of course Hera lost his fishing eco a long time ago, but now Capoch also loses that. Capoch is on 2 town centers now. His second TC is on the wood line, and it's the King's Palace. It's also close to a gold, so it's going to help protecting that. Looks like we will have Capoch trying to push the northern side. Once again, this gold mine is the target with soon veteran longbows and spearmen. He actually deployed the palings for a brief moment. Not sure if that was intentional or a misclick, as Hera is trying to get some raiding going. Currently 37 eco for Hera. Capoch is at 51, but yeah, that's... Where did all the fishing ships go here? Did Capoch just delete them, or Hera destroyed them? What happened there? Capoch has a pretty massive eco lead, because now he's got a lot of fishing ships out here on the southern part of the map, so he still has fishing going on for him, and Hera does not. We got some Lancers going, but now Hera has to force some sort of engagement. He needs to raid Capoch. He needs to hit this wood line, or potentially the gold mines, otherwise this will snowball out of control. This is match point, so Capoch could win this one very, very easily if he just hangs on to that villager lead that he has. Meanwhile, for Hera, he still has his dock up though, and if he gets a Bugla out, suddenly he could force all of those galleys back. I think a Hulk is needed here for Capoch to keep this alive, because the Buglas would destroy all those galleys. Hera will be pushed from 2 sides here, 1 force on the right side by Capoch, 1 on the left side. The problem for Hera is that he still doesn't have veteran horsemen coming in. He is just now upgrading that, I believe. Indeed, veteran horseman is just now coming in. Spearman will push the wood line once again. Hera loses 1 villager out there. And Capoch is tempted to push the right side too. The Bugla pops out, so Hera will be able to start contesting this pond and potentially take down Capoch's fish. But Hera is still very, very far away from recovering. What he could really use is a good mangonel shot. He's got the mangonel set up. If he gets this army killed, then there is maybe a small glimpse of hope for him. Bugla now focusing down all those galleys. And as I said, a Hawk will be needed here for Capoch. He's adding that Hawk right now. Now that we're in Castle Age, Hera has better options because he can go for Buglass, he can go for demos against the opponent's Hawks. In Feudal Age it was difficult just to fight with the Dows against the galleys. Meanwhile, looks like Hera now has the Veteran Horseman upgrading as well. He's moving out with 2 Mangonels. Capoch's army is very much exposed to Mangonel fire, so if he loses that, he's in trouble. But he's using a staggered formation, and if Hera can't force a decisive fight here, and then start killing the villagers of Capoch, Capoch will win this game. You got 43 villagers only for Hera, Capoch is at 67, so massive eco advantage right now for Mr. Capoch. Spearman once again bracing against the impact, but this force will be cleaned up here by Hera. That's the first small step towards recovery. Hera needs to play a very long game here to have any chance. Like, he needs to clean up this army and then start raiding Capoch. But Hera's got the mobility advantage, and we have seen that in game number 1, that the mobility advantage could be massive. Plus, this army from Capoch with the longbows and the spearmen is all exposed to men-at-arms, and you see Hera wanted to switch to men-at-arms. The barracks will be denied, so this isn't going to work out for Hera just yet. If that barracks was finished, a couple of men-at-arms would have helped so much. Another barracks coming in for Hera, so he's switching fully into the men-at-arms approach. Now the English can match that with their own men-at-arms, as now Capoch swoops in, Hera loses a couple more villagers once again. Oh boy. It is just piling up on top of each other, really. Every single fight that Hera wins will be matched by another better fight here for Capoch, because Capoch is killing Hera's eco. 74 villagers for Capoch, 36 for Hera, almost double the vills now. I feel like now, Hera just needs to trust in those barracks, get some men-at-arms out, and he needs to raid with his cavalry. That's the only chance. Now, Hera is very, very good when it comes to cavalry raids, and a raid here on this Wood eco potentially could be devastating. And Capoch doesn't have a lot to defend against that one, so all Mangonels coming out here, getting some decent shots in here. We got some men-at-arms added though by Capoch, and when he gets in his men-at-arms with the clad armor upgrade, that's going to be a decisive advantage for Capoch. Now Hera's going to intercept some of those men-at-arms, but this also reveals the position of his army to Capoch, so Capoch knows exactly that Hera is coming in with an attack, and I still think that Hera needs to do some sort of raiding here. Intercepting the men-at-arms is nice, but Capoch is on 2 town centers with the English, and he also has a pond, whereas Hera has no fish, and Hera has only 1 TC, so Hera needs to lower that villager deficit, otherwise he's in trouble. He will pick off a couple of men-at-arms here, which is a pretty nice fight for him, but it's easier for Capoch to replenish the men-at-arms than it is for Hera to replenish that cavalry, so you gotta find something to raid here, and with that army revealed, Capoch will have the chance to pull all the villagers back. This is a great place to raid for Hera though, so if he just starts to use those horsemen to kill villagers, there is still a chance for him. Small chance, but there is always a chance. There is 3 Mangonels now moving up by Hera. Looks like he's going to pull his cavalry back. The Mangonels could be a little exposed here to the man-at-arms, so Hera has to be careful with that one. Looks like the cavalry is pulling all the way back. Hera's still playing 1 TC here. He's got a pretty well fortified base, multiple towers on the gold mine, but the problem is that Hera is at 42 eco, Capoch is at 86. I feel like that window is closing for Hera. Now, the Mangonels actually got some nice shots on the men-at-arms, so this force of horsemen could actually clean them up, and that's a massacre. Those are the type of Mangonel shots that Hera needs to swing this battle in his favor. And if you look at the eco, it's 88 versus 43, but it's 43 eco only for Hera with 35 army, whereas for Capoch, it's 56 army. But Capoch is facing a lot of Mangonels over here, so Capoch needs to be careful. He's adding his Springles right now to deal with those Mangonels. Mangonels getting some shots up though, and this could be the fight for the game. This could be the fight. Men-at-arms will hit the Spearman. Mangonels setting up to decimate all those Spearman numbers, and honestly, this is as good as it gets for Hera. I don't think he can get more out of this one than what he's getting right now. The Springald might go down to the Men-at-Arms, all those longbows, and the Spearman went down to the Mangonel fire. As I said, this is the best fight Hera could have taken, and it still might not be enough, because of the eco deficit. And now the cavalry is pretty much gone, so raiding is no longer an option for Hera. 27 army only for Capoch, but Hera is also down to 22. The eco difference is enormous though. Hera needs some sort of raiding here to have any chance in this game. 4 mangonels is devastating, and we got some springolds rolling as well, but Hera needs to pull the signature Hera move and just raid his way back into the game here. Because that's what he usually does in AoE2. Just goes for a lot of light cavalry, raids his way back. 1 man-at-arms beating up the villagers here. You see, these are the small annoying things that Capoch keeps doing against Hera. Every once in a while he sends in 1 or 2 units to harass those villagers, and it just piles up. And now, you see, Hera is already behind in eco, but it's just getting worse and worse with all these tiny micro raids going in. 1 or 2 villagers will go down here once again from Hera, because the men-at-arms take a lot of time to clean up those English men-at-arms. Those bad boys have 8 melee armor. So you see, 3 of these men-at-arms for Hera take a lot of time to clean up those English men-at-arms out here. 4 mangonels rolling up, but mangonels won't perform that well against a flood of men-at-arms with staggered formation, especially if there is some springolds supporting them. Hera is without any kind of cavalry support. I'm trying to hype things up here a little bit, but I feel like Hera could just be dead here. Because at this point it's 42 eco versus a whopping 100. I just don't see a way back for Hera. And this would be a 4-0 outing for Mr. Capoch here. That would be an absolutely insane performance. Not gonna lie, I was hoping for a closer matchup, but Capoch is delivering big time over here in every single game. Hera is not playing bad, but Capoch seems to be just 1 step ahead of him. And that's actually a very good sign for him going into the week that has a $20,000 1v1 tournament, the Steel Series Prime Cup, coming in. Because keep in mind, that's coming up this weekend, so Capoch has to be very happy if he can take such a decisive win against Hera in here. As things stand, Hera is just going to be pushed once again, and now it's just the eco advantage for Capoch. He has such a big eco advantage that he can just flood man-at-arms all day, 5 times more food income, and you see Capoch is just flooding men-at-arms all around the map. I don't think there is a way back for Hera. Hera has played well, and I'm a little sad for him, because every single game Hera had a chance. It's just the fact that Capoch played better in these close scenarios. He really was on point today. Every single raid that went well, the rather close Mongols game, for example, also went well for him. So, in general, he was just able to close out the games, whereas Hera had a tough time, especially in this last game. This last game was pretty much decided on the fact that this tower went up and then Capoch was able to get a sneaky dock up on Hera's spawn, whereas Hera wasn't able to destroy that fishing eco in time, so Hera fell behind in eco initially, and then, of course, that second town center for the English is going to skyrocket their economy. If Hera had some crossbowmen here to try and take down those men-at-arms, that might help, but I feel like this game is just too far gone. Capoch is almost pop-capped. Hera is struggling with population with no access to wood. 40 army for him. Capoch is sitting at a convenient 75. And it looks like the mangonels are trying to set up here, hoping to save this game, but I don't think that's gonna happen. All the mangonels will just be overrun by the men-at-arms now. And with that, Hera's hopes of winning this are gone. 4-0 by Capoch. Stunning performance, really. I wish my internet didn't drop at the big or in the middle of the show match, because that just pushed me off from my rhythm a lot. But looks like Capoch wasn't pushed off from his rhythm at all. That is a 4-0 victory for him. Absolutely stunning performance, really. And as I said, Hera didn't play bad. In fact, Hera played quite well. It was just the fact that Capoch played every single scenario a tiny bit better than his opponent. 4-0 victory here for Capoch.